So we're heading back to Dayton, Ohio. I'm just going to do one bullet, one more shot at this. I've been losing too much cash lately. I had a real bad session yesterday. So, and I'll probably pull some of those hands coming up here. But basically made the mistake that I make a lot of times in Dayton, which is not realizing that people are not capable of folding. I ended up running a bluff yesterday where it was the board was queen 10-7. Turn was like no, it was 10-7 queen. Turn was a jack, something like that. The board paired and on the river, and I fired big on the river, and he held on with just queen jack, top pair with the jack kicker. But there was a lot that beats him out there. There were straights out there. It was a board pair, and I had an over in a gutter, and I missed. And he just thought about it for a little bit. And technically, if I'm betting for value there, there's no way you're any good, because I was the razor pre-flop, so I could have over pairs. I could have better queens. I would bet higher queens there. He doesn't know that. I think when the board pairs, people think you're really polarized. Well, I'm going to do another shot here at the Med River. Just one bullet, see what happens. One thing I have to keep in mind is, number one, people don't fold. Most people, you got to realize who your customer is if you're going to try bluffing them. Number two, people don't raise. People play very passive. So I had a number of spots where I bet on a draw heavy board and everyone just called, and turn comes an ace. I bet again, everyone just called, and I didn't fire the third barrel, and because it was into multiple people, and bottom pair won. And I'm like, what the hell did everyone have? I guess they were all on draws, but I've seen the same thing happen where the guy just check called all the way and a draw heavy board, and he had top two pair, and he just check call, bombed the river, right? And then I folded the river. But you get a lot of passive play. So I got to keep in mind, okay, who's passive and who's aggressive? Who's the ones that just check call, never raises on a draw? There's a lot of people there that if they're raising, they got it. They're not raising on the come. And there are people that they do raise on the come. But the ones that really seem to mess me up are the ones that do things that are unorthodox to me, how I would play it. But again, it's not about how you play. It's about how your opponents play and how you adapt to that. So I'm going to have to turn around and pay attention to who's playing passive, who's playing aggressive, who's slow playing, who's not, who's willing to stab, who will stab if you check to them, who will not stab, who raises a lot in late position, who doesn't. And mostly it's the slow players and the just the slow players that just check call and are very passive players. Point those guys out so that I know how to play versus them, so I don't just fall into their trap and I bet on a spot that's a good spot to bet, but I might not want to necessarily triple barrel them, so maybe I'll do a little pot controlling if I know they're the type of player that will just check call. So we'll see how it goes. But the thing you got to realize too is those people that never fold and are passive, you can take the value ton if you hit a hand, and just 2 times the pot, they won't fold. The problem is you don't make a hand very often, right? It's always better to have a tight image and to be aggressive than the other way around, because most of the time you don't have hands, and you're going to have to fabricate chips through bluffs. And if you're not getting any respect at the table and none of the bluffs are getting through, you're going to have problems. Anyone can win a tournament if you're running like that, but you got to be able to try picking them up when you're not as well. So, and most of the time you're not, right? We all know that. So let's see what happens here. Bullet number 1. Guys, you have to excuse the air because I got to have this air blowing. It is hot today. If I got the top up on a convertible, it means it's a hot ass day. Real quick, I really should have like $250,000 in chips, and I only have 80,000. I am not happy with how I played at all. I played terrible. I played too aggressive, and I said I was going to slow down, and sure enough, I find myself in spots where, the book says to call here with a backdoor and a bottom pair or something. So, you see a call, and then I'm like, well, he checked the turn. Maybe I can bluff. I'm doing way too much fancy play syndrome where I feel I can get the guy off. And like I said before, a lot of people here, they like to
play passively. And what I'm noticing is here today, probably it's been the same before too, is the players are really bad. They're really bad. They will not fold if they have anything. And they're not capable of folding really anything. But they are very passive. So you can get into spots where just because they're passive in the check doesn't mean they're weak, or even if they are weak, they're not going to fold. So I said that before I got here, and I just started bluffing too much and fancy play, etc. Don't need to do that. The other thing is now this is not always the case, but most bad players do not bluff. And pretty much, if I had just not, maybe if I found a spot or two, but for the most part, if I had not bluffed, if I had not done fancy play, and just, played more correctly like I should, pre-flop, guy never doesn't open up very much, he's in the cutoff, I have an A7 off, just fold. Just fold. Because I'm too far behind his range, so you don't open enough. And I can, for the most part, if I had just done that and just never, it just always folded when I got any kind of aggression. Now that seems crazy because people will raise the draws and all kinds of stuff, but no, not if they're bad players. Not here. If I just never, like, for example, I had blind versus blind, and I looked down to pocket eights. I raised. Big blind calls. You think he was like, he wasn't sure he wanted to call. He's like, eh. And I think that was a true reaction. So he wasn't thrilled about calling, but he called. Okay, flop comes to ace 6-3 with two clubs, and I bet, and he raises me big. I made it like 3,000 into 7, and he makes it like 9. Just fold. I call. Well, he could be on a draw, He could be on some straight plus short. No, he probably called with 6-3 and did some goofy ass 2 pair. I should just. It depends on the player. If it's a good player that's capable of, running crazy bluffs or stuff like that, then okay, you gotta stick around with eights. But for the most part, anytime there's aggression, and I'm betting along and someone pushes back, we just fold. It's very exploitable, but when nobody ever raises the draws or raises his bluffs, or for the most part really never bluffs, which is most bad players, then you can just exploitatively fold, basically. Just fold. And is it DT? I don't know. But is this exploitable? Yes. But if it's a bad player and he's only pushing back, if he's got 2 pair plus, you just fold. Fold top pair. Here you go. And it seems crazy to say that, but against a lot of players, especially poor players, just fold. And if I just done that, those few things, I should have a heck of a lot more chips. I ran into some hands. I should have a heck of a lot more chips. But because I played too loosely and I got fancy play and I didn't fold like I should have, I don't have as many chips as I should have. So that's it. That's all I got. Big thing in the top of my head today. Not really hands, just an overall thing that I've got to do better on from here on out. See if I still have a chance here in the tournament. I'm still alive, so we'll see. So somehow I'm still in it. I've been all in multiple times. I got down to 6 big blinds a couple times, and now I'm about 20 bigs, which is a lot better than it was. I think I had 320,000. No, not quite. The blinds will be 10 and 20, I think, and I have 320. So what is that? 16, 17 bigs. But I've been between 15 and 5 big blinds pretty much the whole freaking tournament, it seems like, pretty much. And I just been waiting, and then I go in and, 5s versus A7 won the flip. Taking spots when I can, which I think is important. I have a real good image as far as tight, because I am playing pretty tight, but if I see a spot, like I think it was right before the break there, guy raises all the time in the cutoff, and so I decided to just flat. I don't want to go too crazy. Like I said, I'm pretty short. Everyone's pretty short. And then the big blind completed. Flop comes ace jack. I had queen 10 off. It's checked to me, and I bet half pot to take it down. And they both thought about it for a second and folded. Good spot to take it down. I have a gutter. Probably a queen or 10 is good too. and I can easily have an ace here because I'm not playing much pre. You know, I'm definitely been playing tighter. You have to. When you only have 10 or less big blinds on average, you have to wait for a hand for the most part. But I found a spot in that last hand, so just pick up what chips where you can, and I think we're five from day 2, so we'll see what happens here. Hopefully, at least make day 2. So I just ground the short stack and made it to day 2. 240,000. The thing you have to realize, and I always keep in mind, which I didn't realize when I first started playing these kind of things, is if you make it to day 2, they typically drop the blinds. When we finished up, the blinds were 10 and 20,000 with a 20,000 ante, which means at 240, I'm about 13 big blinds or something. Well, when they start tomorrow, they're going to start out here at 4 and 8,000. So now I'm from 12 to 30 bigs. So I kind of keep that in mind when you're getting close to day 2, that you're really not as sure as you think if you make it to day 2, because they usually drop the blind structure, and the blinds are less when you come back. So it's a good thing to know. I made the mistake before. Same thing in the Daytona Beach. I played in the tournament down there. They did the same kind of thing where I felt I had to shove with like 8 bigs and end up losing. And then I found out if I had not done that with the pocket 8s with I forgot what I had, 10 or 12 big blinds or something. The guy had aces behind me. But regardless, I would have come back to like 40 bigs or something if I had just folded and there was we were 2 from the money. So something to keep in mind on this stuff. All right, now I get the long drive home. By the way, guys, I'll do another video for tomorrow, but I'm also recording all these hands, so I'm not sure what I'm going to show. I missed some hands. I can't really think of a whole lot of interesting hands, honestly, but since I'm recording everything at the table, I probably will put something together eventually. So hopefully I make a deep run tomorrow, and then I can put together a whole string of day 1 and day 2 together, a little vlog going through this tournament. So just an FYI, stay tuned, subscribe, all that good stuff, and on to day 2 for tomorrow.